All right. Okay. Looks pretty good. Okay. All right. To do the cabling, watch. We're going to cut off a piece of cable. We're going to use a pair of wire cutters to do it. And when y'all do it, I do a 3 to 4 foot piece, but I'm going to do shorter. The pull string, you can just get out of the way somehow. And so we got a piece of cable. And we used a pair of just wire cutters to do that. Then we're going to use the strippers here to strip the outer sheath off the cable. It's got a razor blade in it. It's raised up slightly, and it's just going to cut a notch in the sheath around it. And then we're going to break it and pull it off. So I'm just going to lay this on there. There's also another stripper we've got that you just slide the cable into the first position and spin it around. I'm going to spin it around one time. So I just want to cut a notch in there. And I keep trying to adjust the height of that thing, and it looks like it's not quite high enough now. It was too high earlier. So I'm going to spin it around again. I'll go about 2 or 3 times this time. I think I did that time. Yeah, I did. So now when I go to bend it, you're going to actually see the wire start appearing, and so I'll break on it. I'll pull that outer sheath off, toss it in the trash can, and I'm through with the strippers. And that's what this device is called, is a stripper. So we took the outer sheath off there. Now you've got 4 pairs of wires in here. They're going to be put on 5 out of the 6 ends. You're going to put the orange pair on the left, the brown pair on the right, and the blue and green pair are going to sort of go in the middle of it. So that we've got colors, and I'll have that posted out there on the end of the course also for you. So that B we're going to use for 5 out of 6 ends. We're going to use A for 1 end. Okay? Y'all don't have to memorize the colors. I will put the colors on the board or on a piece of paper by you wherever you're doing this cabling yet for this and for the final exam. So then the order is going to be white, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green, white, brown, brown. You're going to end up with a white, solid all the way across. So I'm going to go ahead and undo these one after another. And you want to go ahead and put it into a peacock looking approach, is my approach on it. But untwist them, and you may want to untwist slightly further than just right down to the sheath of another untwist, just give you a little more adaptability to it. And then the green and the blue, and what order you untwist these in doesn't make any difference, but you do want to try to go ahead and be getting them in order as you're undoing them, so that at this point I've got it like this. I've just got the blue to undo, and I'll undo that one. And the blue pair usually gives me the biggest problem, although I've heard students today commenting to me that the green pair is the more aggravating one. But it's usually the blue and the green is going to be the ones that give you the most problems. So I'm going to end up with it looking like this, so that you should see from the left, we go to the orange, to the right is the brown. So when I'm standing here looking at it, that's what I've got. Okay, so I've got now colors that match what's on the board. White, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green, white, brown, brown. Follow with that? Now, take your hand and you want to put your finger where it's laying just beyond the opening. Not way on up, but right there at the opening. Take your thumb and fasten down on it and slide it around till it feels comfortable. Usually in the joint there's where I'm more comfortable on. But now I've got a hold of those 8 wires, holding them in position so they don't jump around, and I've got a good grip on them. Then start moving them together with the other hand and start pulling them across your finger and wiggle them as you do it. And out of that, to me, is the big miracle of doing these cables. Mark nods at me like it was for him too. Mark's my camera operator. And so if you wiggle them back and forth and you pull hard, it should feel like on this finger I'm putting a blister on. So we've got that part. So now if I do that, and I want it coming straight out of the cable when I get through. So now I've got a ribbon cable out of 4 separate pairs of wires. That there still amazes me. It's that easy to get those wires there to that point. Take a plug then. I'm going to find my scissors up. Take yourself an RJ45 plug. On that plug, on the back side of it, what I'm going to call the flat side, there's a spot where it narrows down. When we put this wire into there, that's as far as we can plug the outer sheath. Does everybody follow on that? And then the wires are going to go all the way to the end because you've got little pieces of metal up here that we're going to push into there, and that's going to make our plug at that point. So we got to get the wires all the way to the end. So I'm going to lay it beside my finger here. I know how it feels under this. So once you start making this ribbon cable, don't let go. Hold on to it until we actually push this plug on. So I'm not letting go with this hand. This hand's busy. I'm a one-hand person right now because this one I can't do anything else with. I'm going to lay this plug up here beside it. I know about where it feels under my thumb, where the sheath comes to. So I will estimate that on there, look at the wires, and one of the colored wires usually have, one of the white wires, usually has a color ending or starting about where the end should be. And you've got a little bit of flexibility on it because you've got about that much space on it. So when I'm doing this one, as I hold it up by it, that it appears to me that where the orange ends on the white orange one there at about that length is about where it comes to. So I'm going to remember that because I got to remember where it came to. I'm going to take a pair of scissors, Dollar Tree scissors, but they got sharp blades that are well aligned. They usually last me about 6 months. And I'm trying to get trash can where it works. Big part is get that sheath in the trash can in these rooms. Then I'm just going to lay it and cut a straight cut on it. So I want to go straight across. If you try to do it with the wire cutters, all you're going to do is bend the little wires. So use the scissors, not the wire cutters. Now, let me try to get out of my way and figure where I laid the plug to. Take the plug. On 5 out of the 6 ends, it goes on what I'm defining as flat side up, and that's the side with the little metal pieces. The other side has a tab on it, like you're used to on unplugging phone wire or data wire like we're making. So I'm going to call the other side flat side, this side tab side. We want to put the plug on 5 out of the 6 ends, flat side up. So then I'm going to start sliding it in until my fingers run into it. Then I will let go. At that point, the wires are actually up in that narrow area, so they shouldn't jump on you. Notice I said shouldn't. I didn't say they will not. I said they shouldn't. And keep on pushing as you let go. But if you let go before then, wires are going to jump out of place. Now take it, look at it, and you can look, and you can see all of the wires across there. And so now we can see, and y'all can probably see it here on the camera, I'm not sure, that it's white solid, white solid, white solid all the way across. It may not be exactly clear to you, but that's what we've got there. Now at this point, the plug will fall off if we pull on the plug. I'm going to show the others that are in here, like that there too. And so you see it goes all the way to the end. which now it goes all the way to the end. It didn't go all the way to the end. Now it goes all the way to the end. I pushed down with my finger over there, all the sewing thing fell down. But it's nothing holding it right now. And that one's actually where the sheath comes to in there is perfect. I'm midway on the whole thing. So that sheath. Now, when y'all make these for me, if you end up with a little bit of wire showing, don't worry about that. Don't have a whole lot of wire showing like I showed on the demonstration to the online students last week. But a little bit will be okay. And this is the first time almost all of y'all have done it, so that's the way it goes. We're now going to take the crimpers. Now, crimpers usually are all-in-one tools, and you could actually do everything we have done using the crimper. So it has a razor blade in it too. These actually had another razor blade in them that sat here. Did I bring that one in the other day, Mark? I did. And it was completely exposed. They didn't put any protection around it. So I have removed that extra razor blade that you would actually use. And some people actually do use these all in one, but most people have multiple tools like we've done here. But just be aware there is a razor blade in there, so don't cut your finger. So stripper has razor blades, this has razor blades. So be careful. I do get students that cut themselves occasionally. Nothing critical. Slide the plug into the opening. So on one side, notice it's got more of a open there that for the tab to go into. On the back side, it doesn't. It basically will only go in one way. Now I say basically because I had students force it in the other way and it gets hard unforcing it back out. But it should slide in smoothly. But remember the rule. There's nothing holding that cable in there at this point. So I would keep on pushing in there once I get it in there. Because if you let go with this little cable, it would stay put. When you get bigger cables, the ones laying down to the floor and stuff, the weight of them is going to pull the cable back out of the plug on you. So keep it pushed in there and then start squeezing. Once you squeeze a little bit, you can let go because you've got it started to be sealed. And then squeeze it really, really good. When I have done this demonstration to 7th graders, to the girls in the class quite often, and the boys too, but particularly with the 7th graders, I'll make the comment to them of, imagine this is your enemy that you've got right now. And that all of them, the boys and the girls, can think of somebody that they hate in the class really bad at that point that they'd like to squeeze their neck. May have been their best friend 5 minutes ago and be their best friend again in 5 minutes from now. But at 7th grade level, that's the way kids tend to be. That they don't. And the boys usually want to go ahead and squeeze it hard. That's usually not as big of a problem. That's why I said girls on it to start with. The girls usually want to be a little more timid and not as aggressive on it. So to get them to really squeeze it hard. So squeeze it hard and then let go. And then you've got it here. Now, if I pull with one hand on the plug and the other hand on the wire, I am pulling hard. Nothing goes anywhere. It's on there. You can inspect it again, look at it and see, and this one actually appears to be a perfectly good made plug on it. And like I say, I even got the sheath in there perfectly on it. So then you would do the other end. If you were doing a straight through, you'd do exactly the same thing on the other end. If you were doing a crossover, you'd do the A on the other end. If you were doing a rollover, you'd do exactly the same colors and everything on the other end, except you put it on, and this is the one exception, you'd put the plug on tab side up instead of flat side. And that reverses it. With your first assignment, lab assignment in this class, you used that console cable or rollover cable, where it was a light blue cable that they had you connect the PC to the switch with to program the switch. Any questions? Hit stop.